Alright, so just the other day I make a full WrestleMania 30 preview video. Get them all put up, talk about all the matches, and what do you know, in the matter of 2 days, they add 3 more matches. I guess so in these next few videos I'm going to be covering up the WWE Tag Title match, the Vicky Guerrero Divas Championship Invitational match. That's going to be a good one. And then also we're going to be talking about the Kane and the New Age Outlaws going up against the Shield. In this first video I'm going to be talking about the tag team match, and then we'll go on from there. Wow. I mean, I don't know why they needed to make this sort of like a four corners match. I'm not 100% sure if this is like the first pinfall wins all, or they're going to go back to the old days of when they actually had a tag team division at the older WrestleManias. They would do it elimination style until they basically the last pinfall got to win it all. But we got the champions, the Usos, going in there looking strong. They're going to be fighting against Cesaro and Swagger, Los Matadors, and then the team of Ryback and Curtis Axel. Not a whole lot going on in here. I'm honestly going to say that I've been a big fan of the Usos for a good little while. I'm not the biggest fan of them having the face paint. I liked them before the face paint. I go back to the days when they first came in and they first debuted, and they were beating up the Hart Dynasty, and it looked like they were building towards a big sort of trios match with the Usos and Tamina coming down to the ring, and they would... I kept remembering that one of the Usos were coming in there to do that jump off the top rope, the big splash, and one of them 2 weeks in a row fucked up jumping up onto the top turnbuckle. Something they practiced on forever and ever. If you remember back in the days, the Usos were they weren't really like the Islander guys that they are now. They were like, I forgot what their gimmick was really called, but they dressed real nice, and they talked about stealing people's college scholarships and internships and stuff like that. It's pretty funny. I'm honestly going to tell you that the team that I want to win this match is probably the Usos. Even though Cesaro and Swagger are going strong in there, everybody knows that the split is coming sooner than later with Cesaro and Swagger. It's almost like they had too many teams that were going to be splitting at one time, so they backed off on both of them, and then they didn't realize that probably the people that were on charge of the creative team that were in charge of the other guys weren't going to split the Shield up as well, so Cesaro and Swagger's turn got put on ice. Somebody is going to turn on somebody, and it's if I had to bet, it's going to be the Shield. Cesaro's going to be a huge star. They'll find him a way out of this tag team in the next upcoming months, but I honestly want to know what they're going to do with Swagger when he moves on from this team. Cesaro, I know, is going to be a star. He looks like he should have been a star from day one a long time ago. But that'll cover them. Los Matadors, I think they're really surprised. I'm really surprised that they're even in this match. How they got in there, I have no clue. They came in there with a whole lot of steam. A lot of people were really into these guys before their debut. And it seems like when they walked out on the stage and they did their entrance the way they did, and you found out that El Torito was going to be the star of this team, and it wasn't even about the two guys, Epico and Primo. I think a lot of the gas got let out of this. If you go back to that first episode of Live Main Event a few weeks ago, it was supposed to be the Usos against the New Age Outlaws. A lot of people tuned in to see that match because they thought they might get a surprise sort of title change. Switching the titles back onto the New Age Outlaws before WrestleMania, and then maybe building towards the match where the Usos beat them at Mania, and then they just sort of played it off like that match was going to happen later due to an injury, and then they just found out that they just scrapped it completely because they wanted to take the Outlaws in a different direction. Los Matadors showed up on that show. They had a really good match against the Usos. They didn't win that one, but hopefully enough people really saw that these guys really did earn some respect. But as long as they're wearing those masks, as long as they're wearing that gimmick, they're not a team that's going to be winning the tag team gold. You've had the real American Cesaro and Swagger. It took them a long time to get noticed in the tag team division. The Usos have been doing this since probably 2010, and this is the first time they're getting the gold. These guys aren't going to get it. But then when you look at the other team, Ryback and Curtis Axel, why is this even a team? Alright, I understand they were both at one time Paul Heyman guys. They were both guys that were picked to go after CM Punk, and they weren't able to do it to the point of, basically they weren't needed anymore. Paul Heyman dropped them as clients, and dumb. I mean, just why are these guys still a team? I understand that they teamed for maybe a week or two because they were trying to get back at Paul Heyman, and maybe people thought that maybe they would team up together and maybe they would like attack Brock Lesnar or try and win back Paul Heyman's love. Or I don't know, but I mean, at one point Paul Heyman was out there proposing to Ryback on Monday Night Raw, so I don't know. I don't see anything like any money, any buys, no buys in Ryback for the one part of, until he's a babyface. I don't think anybody's going to care about him again. You go back to 2011, that Monday Night Raw that I was at where it was, put on the table that CM Punk had to choose if he was going to fight Ryback or if he was going to fight John Cena for the Hell in the Cell, and they had Vince and them beating the hell out of each other, and Ryback came out at the end, and he got a huge pop. I knew that Ryback was over, but I didn't know how over he was. He was out there throwing that fucking shoulder around. Everybody remembers when Ryback was the man. As soon as they turned Ryback babyface, as soon as it, I mean, like, guaranteed dollar signs. This guy was great. He was golden. Why he never got any wins on pay-per-view, I got no clue. You go back to WrestleMania 29, I would love to erase that loss from his loss column. I mean, that is a match that honestly was a big time game changer. I mean, like, for him to lose to Mark Henry, and I know that like wins and losses don't really matter in wrestling, but then like, because especially he was the #1 contender for the next pay-per-view at Extreme Rules. I'm pretty sure he was. I think that's when Ryback turned, and then after that, Mark Henry got his shot later on down the line. But I don't know. I don't really see any of these teams winning except for the Usos keeping their titles and moving on from where they are. Cesaro and Swagger would be great. Why they never won the tag titles, I got no clue. But I mean, like, you just don't put the titles on guys that you're thinking of breaking up sooner than later, especially with the tag team division and the flux that it's in. It just doesn't really make any sense. So my pick in this match is going to be the Usos. More than likely, this is going to be the dark match if they don't do some sort of NXT Invitational or something like that, or just the match that nobody gives a fuck about. I mean, like, I honestly care more about the Vicky Guerrero Divas Championship Invitational than I do for this match. So peace out. We'll go on to the next match in the next video. Peace out.